On today's episode of 2025 NFL schedule predictions, we have
the Carolina Panthers.
So we come to the Carolina Panthers. This team was an absolute dumpster fire last year, starting 1-7, benching their starting quarterback and bringing him back at the end of the season for a little bit of a resurgence. They went 5-12 last season. This year, Vegas has them winning 6.5. We're going to have to take a look at that. So Carolina is one of those teams where I believe they're in the middle of a rebuild, of course, but they're trending in the right direction. It's going to be Dave Canales' second season here at head coach. He's going to need to string together some wins if he wants to keep that job there in Carolina. So some of their notable additions in the offseason and the draft, they got what I think is the best receiver out of all of them. They got the first receiver taken in the draft, T-Mac. Teteroda McMillan, he was great at Arizona. I think he's going to be a good piece on the outside of Leggett there, who had a little bit of a problem dropping balls at the end of last season. But I think you pair the two together, Bryce Young is going to have some weapons. They also got Nick Gordon in the draft, edge out of Texas A&M. I'm an Aggie, so I went to these games. I'm telling you, Nick Gordon stood out more to me than Shamar Stewart. They also improved their running game a little bit, adding Rico Dowdle from the Cowboys, 1,000-yard rusher last year, and taking Trevor Etienne from Georgia. Now, this isn't my favorite running back duo in the league, but I do think it's better than what they had last season. I definitely think we're going to be seeing an improved O from Carolina this year, especially if Bryce Young can continue that trajectory he had later in the season last year. He looked really good later on. So last year, Bryce Young got benched after getting blown out in those first 2 games of the season, but then he came back later on and threw for over 2,000 yards, throwing 15 touchdowns and only a couple interceptions. He looked way better than Andy Dalton to me. I think he has what it takes to make that jump and make this team a contender later on. I've been seeing there's some words flying around training camp that he's looking really good this offseason too. I really think this guy could be something special this year. I also really like their secondary. They have J.C. Horn. They just signed Morig from the Raiders, I believe, the safety. He was really good. I believe he was a first rounder and played real good. They just didn't want to pay him. Carolina is also going to be playing without Shaq Thompson for the first time since 2015. He was a leader of that defense, so we're going to see how that changes things up here in Carolina. With that being said, let's see if Carolina can improve on that 5-win season and if they can meet Vegas's expectations of 6.5 wins. Here we go. So week 1, this is going to be an interesting one to me. This is Carolina in Jacksonville, 2 teams where I believe they're in the middle of kind of a rebuild situation. They don't really know where they're going. I actually have Jacksonville taking this one, although I can see a world where Carolina pulls this one out. I'm going to have to give this one to Jacksonville. Week 2, we have another interesting one. This is another away game. They start off back-to-back games on the road. This is at Arizona. I also have Arizona taking this one against the Cardinals. I just like Arizona a little bit more at this point in the year. They're a little bit more experienced. I think Carolina might start off a little bit shaky. You're going to see that in these next couple games. Week 3, we have a home opener versus Atlanta. I have Atlanta taking this one as well. Carolina falls to 0-3 at the beginning of the season. Now, I think these first 3 losses are going to be close games. I could see Carolina winning either one of those 3. I also have them losing this week 4 game at New England. This is going to be a tough one to see. New England, I kind of have on an even playing field as Carolina. I don't think they're going to be one of those dumpster fire teams this year. I do see New England winning this one for the sole fact that it's on the road. So then we got a week 5 game. This is versus Miami. This is actually where I see Carolina picking up their first win. I think their offense just steps up this day, and I'm going to have to go with Carolina on this one. Unfortunately, I think they're going to take a step back after that win against Miami. I have them losing to Dallas in week 6 here. Dallas just outmatches them, and even when Dallas was at their weakest last year, they beat Carolina. I just like Dallas in this one. Then we have a Jets game, week 7. This is on the road. I really like New York this year. I just think they're a little bit better than Carolina. Unfortunately, I'm also going to have to go with the loss here. And if you look at this part of the schedule, it's just absolutely brutal. This Dallas all the way to Green Bay. These 4 games are going to be really tough. I think Carolina needs to win a couple of these if they're going to be in playoff contention, along with 1 or 2 of those games that I had them taking losses in those first 4 weeks of the season. I just don't know if they're that good of a team right now. They could make me eat my words later on. I just don't think they're good enough right now to beat these teams like Buffalo, Green Bay, and Dallas. So I'm going to have to go losses another 4 consecutive weeks here. This is where I think Carolina can turn things around. And after a 1-8 start to this season, I believe we're going to really see what Carolina is made of, what Bryce Young's made of, and this is where we're going to see what the future of the Panthers looks like. Because although this may seem like a crappy start to the 2025 season, I do see this team becoming a contender within the next couple years. They have pieces where it counts. With that being said, I think they take their second victory of the season here. This is a home game versus New Orleans. New Orleans is one of those teams like the Giants where I just see them being completely abysmal this season. Carolina, I think, is the next tier above those teams. That's why I'm going to have to take Carolina in that one, followed by a loss here. This is on the road at Atlanta. I do like Bryce Young a whole lot more than Michael Penix, so I think that the Panthers could take this one, but I'm going to have to go with Atlanta right now. However, I do think Carolina is going to bounce back and take this one on the road in San Francisco. We're going to go ahead and go with the win here for the Panthers. I'm not very high on San Francisco this season. I like Carolina in this spot. I'm going to go with Carolina, followed by a real tough one. This is a home game, but the Rams are much improved. I like the Rams here. We do have a bye week real late in the season. It's not going to mean much if the Panthers have been looking like this all season. If they have strung together a couple more wins, this could be an opportune time for them to go on that bye week, because coming out of it, I have them winning this game at New Orleans. Like I said earlier, I just think Carolina is going to be a little bit better than them. They need to win some of those division games. I have them taking that one, but then losing here to Tampa Bay, rebounding at home versus Seattle, and then finishing off the season with a loss at Tampa Bay. So I think they split those last 4 games here after the bye week, which is going to round out the Panthers season here to 5-12 again. Now, this is one of those where I hope I'm wrong, because I do kind of like the Panthers. I like Bryce Young. He's a real cool guy. All those videos coming out of him when he was benched in training camp, it really made you feel for the guy. I want them to succeed. I like their wide receiver core. I do think they could have some explosion here on offense. You pair Leggett with Adam Thielen, and then you add T-Mac in the draft. I don't see what's not to love there coming from the offensive side of the ball. The defense, I'm a little bit scared about. I like their secondary. I'm just not sure that this young team under Dave Canales can take it to where they need to go this season. So I'm going to have to take the lower on Vegas's line of 6.5 wins. So that's going to do it for today's episode of Schedule Predictions. I have the Panthers going 5-12. Please go ahead and like and subscribe this video. I'll be seeing y'all in the next one. Thanks.